What's up, guys? Welcome back. It's been probably close to a month since I filmed anything. I've been super lazy with it, totally just dropping the ball. So I think last time we left off, I was doing the ram mounts on the axles on Andrew's car. So since then, we've got a bunch more stuff done. So we're gonna go over that, get you guys caught up on that, because tomorrow he's gonna come pick the car up. It's gonna go to his house, and I think he's gonna do some other little things on it, and then hopefully he'll bring it back to us and we'll get some more stuff knocked out on it. But for now, we'll go over what we got done thus far. So starting up front on this thing, we did obviously the ram mounts like we did in the last video. I don't think I had the overlay plates on, but we did like a little overlay for the eyelet right here for the suck down. These are just mock-up tie rods, that way we can steer this thing until the actual tie rods get put on there. But that ram mount came out super nice, really happy with it. We ended up adding these C gussets for the C's on the bottom right there, just to give some extra support on those C's. So link mounts. The lower shock mount, we did this kind of style where it's welded onto the C. It uses a through bolt into a tapped insert. So there's no nut in this. You just run a bolt straight through the shock and it goes into that insert, and that's the whole setup right there. Upper shock mounts, we ended up doing this box little style. They'll end up being another lacing tube that connects from this junction to the debris bars in the dash, and then there'll be a tube that comes down to about center point here and then back up to this corner. We've already talked about the motor mounts. We've got the orbital mount or steering column mount mocked up in there. We just left it tacked for now because he's going to come check steering wheel position and all that in case we need to go up or down or anything. That's the height that we normally run them in these cars, but the customer may vary a little bit depending on his preferences. So next thing is these seat mounts. I am super happy with how these came out. This is something a little bit different. Definitely not my idea. I saw something very similar on Instagram. I had seen a guy named Johnny did something very similar to this style, and I really liked it. I had to do something a little different with the front, but came out super nice. It's always a pain to pull your seats in and out if you're running all 4 bolts. But this setup makes it to where the outside eyelets of the seat, there's no tabs or anything out here hanging out all the way on the side. All of the seat mount mechanism is inboard on the car. So basically the program that we've got going on in this is just, we've got a through pin that goes through both seat tabs and these hooks that run onto a tube that's bolted to the seat. So once you pull that pin out, both of these tabs, you're able to slide the seat forward and up and out, because the back, same thing, is on hooks. So basically all we have to do here is pull this pin out, get that pin out of the way, and without that pin there, we're able to slide the seat forward a little bit and then lift the back up and out. So we've got these 2 front hooks that go onto that front bar that's mounted to the seat, and then the rear bar goes into these hooks right here. So basically when you pull that front pin out, you slide it forward, pushes this tab forward in the slot, and then lift the front of the seat up. That way you clear the back hook right here and then just lift it up and out. Very similar program on the passenger side. The only difference is over here we have 2 individual QD pins because we're gonna have the transfer case shift rails that are gonna come through here and then be mounted off of this, so we can't have a bar that goes all the way through. So we just ended up doing 2 individual QD pins. So running it like that makes it to where no tools required. You just pull the pin, seat's super solid in there, not going anywhere. But that way, to do maintenance or anything, service, you just pull the pin and the seat pops out. So up here we did the orbital mount. Again, it's just tacked, that way we can test fitment and everything. This is the similar style that I did in the FJ. Basically the orbital mounts on its side, that way all the hoses run into the column or center console. That way we can have our center console just butted up to the side, that way everything's inside the console and plumbed forward. This chassis does look super tight in here. This is our wider 52-inch chassis. It just looks really tight in there because these are the extra wide PRP seats, and they're obviously the podiums, so they've got the big old bolsters on the side with the headrests and all that. So they look tight in here, but the car is pretty wide already. So we'll have a little bit of room for a console in the center there. Drop door bars for easy access in and out. And then back here, this is our 3-seat model. So this is intended for a kid's bucket seat in the back. Obviously not a bunch of leg room or headroom back here because this is a portal car, so the seat's gonna have to be up really high. So it's really intended for a kid to ride back there, not a full-size adult, because there's obviously not very much room. At full bump, the axle comes up so high that you'd have to have the seat just as low as the front seats, which wouldn't clear the links and your head would be in the roof. So this is really meant for a kid. Same program for the lower shock mounts. Upper shock mounts come up here, nice little box structure with some flared holes. And then moving on to the fuel cell. Simple plate structure with some more flared holes on the front to hold the front side of the cradle. Back here we got a long flange to hold the rear of the cradle. This cradle has basically got a tray on the bottom that captures the side of the fuel cell. And then this captures the whole top. I'm calling this the Lucky 7 fuel cradle because I was originally going to put 6 flared holes on it, but it didn't really look right in my opinion. Needed the Lucky 7 on there. So we put 7 flared holes on each side. Kind of looks like a pair of dice. But I wanted to kind of follow the flared hole theme that's on the rest of the car. So that's pretty much it. Nothing too crazy on this. Little look over the chassis. This is our 52-inch 3-seat chassis that we have with the drop door bar option. And this is obviously the portal chassis. So basically, if you guys aren't aware, sometimes I get asked, what does that mean, portal or standard version of this chassis? Basically what that means is the front and rear lower frame rails come up to this height because on a portal axle at full bump, 1, the link mounts are a lot higher, and 2, the center line of the axle is about 4.5 or 5 inches above the center line that a regular standard axle would be at. So basically on the portal chassis, these frame rails just come up a lot higher, where on the standard chassis, they're about 5 inches lower. So if you guys are interested in these chassis and don't know whether or not you want to order a standard or portal version of this chassis, that's basically what that means. Up here in the front of the car, we have all of this room up here, and it looks like a lot with this 3.9 in here, but basically what all this room is for is to run the radiator from basically the bottom being at this front tube up at an angle and captured on the top right here behind this tube. Running the radiator right there at an angle will allow these frame rails to come up this high and clear all the link mounts and the portal and everything. So this chassis can house the 3.9 V6. We have also ran an LS in this chassis. So it looks like there's quite a bit of room on each side of the frame rails, but the reason for that is because when we run the bigger motors in this chassis, it fits nicely in there. Henry's trying to sneak in. So that's about it. We just got a few things knocked out on this. Get this off to him tomorrow. We've got something special coming back to the channel, so stay tuned for next week's video. I am going to stay on top of videos. I always say see you guys next week, so I'm really pushing to keep up with that and stay on track. We've got a lot of chassis on order, so we're gonna be busy building chassis. So my plan is we're gonna start selling DIY chassis. So I've got one chassis on order that I'm gonna do a video of how I assemble it. That way when you guys buy a chassis, you guys can revert back to that video of how I assemble it. And hopefully that'll help you guys out on your DIY chassis. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Keep it classy, and I'll see you guys next week.